It was really funny watching Amazon do everything in their power to try to gaslight everybody. Even the mainstream media was on their side from the beginning, but to try to gaslight everyone else into believing that season 1 was an actual success. Season 1 of Rings of Power, the most expensive series ever made in history, on top of the $250 million that they spent just to get the rights to do it. It's rumored that this thing, for just 2 seasons, was going to cost upwards of $1 billion. And with a lot of the reshoots, a lot of the changing of locations of filming, all the problems they had while filming, it's probably ballooned up even from there. And initially, while Amazon was busy locking down the reviews, not letting people review this, deleting things on IMDb, censoring people everywhere they could, they tried to tell everybody, hey, we can't prove it, but just trust us. 100 million people have watched Rings of Power. We promise, despite the fact that the Nielsen ratings flew completely to the contrary of that. The Nielsen ratings said that's not true. The Nielsen ratings said it's more on the line of what we saw from something like House of the Dragon, which didn't seem to have 100 million people watching it. And they also had linear broadcast as well on top of it. House of the Dragon destroyed Rings of Power. Yet Amazon continued to claim it's a success. It's a success. It's a success. The Rings of Power cast talked about how amazing it was. And then if you don't like it, you're just one of the racists out there and we don't need you. They were chirping constantly. And then we started to get some actual data. Like I said, from the Nielsen ratings and from completion rates, only 37% of the U.S. Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power viewers finished season 1. That is horrifically bad. Just as a side note, any normal show, if it had less than a 50% success rate or completion rate on streaming, that's almost an immediate cancellation. Not only was this below 50%, it was at 37% completion rate for the IP of Lord of the fucking Rings. That is embarrassingly bad. So isn't it funny that over the past couple months, and we really haven't heard shit from Amazon. They haven't been bragging about how successful the first season was. The cast and crew haven't been out there talking about how incredibly proud they are to be representative, how everybody's just racist if they don't like them. They've been extremely fucking quiet. And you know why? Because they probably knew that this was going to be a complete and total disaster. They did their best to pretend like it was a success in season 1, even though it was a catastrophic failure. And here they are, only 3 months out from the release of Lord of the Rings season, or not Lord of the Rings, forgive me, Rings of Power season 2. They knew they were going to get blasted. That's why they waited this long to put out the teaser. And predictably, here we are, already at nearly 500,000 dislikes. I don't think it's going to have quite the same energy as that first teaser did. 2 million dislikes. But we are well on our way to 500,000 dislikes for Amazon's Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power Season 2. And of course, the comment section, like we've talked about before, is exactly what you would expect. And the idea that the Anatar version of Sauron is literally just Halbrand, or Charlie Vickers, the actor, with a fucking wig and pointy ears is insane. A dude that can shift his shape to look like whatever he wants, and this is how he tricks all of the elves. He just puts on a fucking wig. All those elves deserve to die. They deserve what's coming to them if they're that fucking stupid, to be honest. But look at all these comments. One wig to rule them all. One wig to hide them. One wig to fool them all. And now they cannot find him. But they were all of them deceived, for another wig was made. I feel thin, sort of stretched, like a wig forced onto too big of a head. But Sauron hasn't yet revealed his deadliest servant, the Wig King of Angmar. It is getting roasted. It's just like season 1. But the difference is this time, a lot of those people who initially tuned in to give it a chance because it did have the title Lord of the Rings, there's no way they're coming back. They couldn't even finish the godforsaken season. So yes, they are prepared for a complete and total catastrophe. That's why they've been quiet. That's why they've been silent. Despite them trying to gaslight everyone into thinking that this show's first season was actually a success when it wasn't, they know. Seems like they've given up all hope and that they understand that there's no way that this show is going to be a success. Despite all the damage control they tried to do, the PR spins that they did, the mainstream media on their side, all of that was not enough. Lord of the Rings fans, Tolkien fans rose up and said, we don't want this shit. They should have just canceled, even though they already had the money invested. It would have saved them a lot of face. But unfortunately, that's not what they've done. And Rings of Power Season 2 is going to end up being a catastrophic failure once again.